I'm not sure what's doing that. I'm not sure if it's the cavity or the grip is just keeping me really locked in, but I know testing's complete and the scores are in, and this is the full review of the New Balance SC Trainer V3. But before we get into it, a big shout out to my #1 running store, the Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check out that and check out all their running gear. And also guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And with the specs, so this one is a neutral running shoe and certainly in the super trainer category. It's got a super price as well, $330 here in Australia, $180 in the US. Now in the weight, not too bad, 261 grams or 9.2 ounces. That's in a men's size 9. In the stack here, we've got 40 in the rear, 34 in the front, and that's going to give us a 6mm drop. Now for the scores, in the price, it's over that dreaded $300 mark here in Australia. So that is racing super shoe territory, and it's not a racing or a super shoe. It's a training shoe. Yes, I do think it's too expensive. However, it represents a little more value than the previous version, 6 out of 10. And now in the weight, so it doesn't actually say on the stats that it's actually a heavy shoe, but there's something about the shoe that feels a little unbalanced to me. There's shoes around the same weight that don't feel as heavy, so I think this one is a little bottom heavy, 7 out of 10. And in the upper here, so the material that they're using is Phantom Fit, but the Phantom Fit in this model is certainly different to what you're going to find in the SC Elite V4 and also the Rebel. So this is certainly a lot more of a softer material. It doesn't have that plasticky feel. However, the breathability is still excellent. Overall materials in this shoe feel very, very premium. So very nice feeling shoe. Really solid heel counter here. It doesn't have a solid cap, but it's really solid. We've probably got a medium amount of padding around the heel collar and probably a medium amount of padding on the tongue as well. Now what I will mention is just the material that they use to line the inside of the shoe here to cover that padding. It is amazing. So it does feel like that Alcantara suede stuff. It is, yeah, really premium. Our tongue, it's gusseted, really nice, doesn't go anywhere. Really standard lacing system here from New Balance, just what you're going to find on the Elite and on the Rebel. So the overall style is really similar to those shoes. In the lockdown, no issues with the lockdown at all. Now in the fit, I'm going to say it is a tad long, and it's a very voluminous or wide toe box as well, but obviously that's there to accommodate the long run, so your foot swelling on the long runs. I quite like the room in the shoe. However, if you have got a really thin foot, you probably can consider coming half size down. My foot is about normal, so I'm going to stick true to size. Build quality, excellent. Stepping comfort, excellent. And this has got to be one of the best, if not the best looking shoe on the market. Really happy with the upper, 9 out of 10. So in the outsole, so we've got a really familiar design, what's going on here. Very similar to the Elite and also the Rebel. But yeah, pretty much complete rubber coverage of the forefoot, except we've got some grooves and some slits there just to break it up a little and take some weight off. We've also got some of that rubber in the high wear areas at the rear. Now this rubber is quite a soft compound, so it is going to show signs of wear. However, it's not going to affect the grip or the performance of the shoe. Now the grip on this rubber, this outsole, these little diamond patterns that it's got is absolutely excellent. It doesn't falter in any conditions. Now what you can also see on the bottom of the shoe here, we've got a little bit of exposed foam through the middle of the shoe there, and also we've got a huge cavity through the bottom where you can see that exposed plate. So with this huge cavity, that's going to add some softness to the ride and also a little bounce, and also does reduce a little bit of weight. Scores wise, overall in the outsole, durability is pretty good. The grip is excellent. I love it, 9 out of 10. And in the midsole, so the foam that they are using here is Fuel Cell, but it is a different version of the Fuel Cell in this shoe than what you're going to find, say, in the SC Elite. But I do think it's the same formulation that you are going to find in the Rebel, because it is a PEBA blend Fuel Cell. So it's like, I've got to think it's got 20% PEBA and the rest is the EVA blend. So it's got 20% magic and the rest is a little boring. So 2 layers of that foam here. So they've got a top layer, and then under that top layer they have got their Energy Arc carbon plate. Now this carbon plate has got ripples through it, and it makes this carbon plate really, really stiff. So rigidity in this shoe, it's quite a stiff, especially for a training shoe. You usually find race shoes that are about this stiffness. You don't often find a training shoe that's stiff, but it's got a little bit of flex through the toe, but overall super stiff shoe for a training shoe. And under our carbon plate there, we've got the bottom layer of that same fuel cell foam, just to add a bit of softness to the ride. And in the geometry, they have got a 4-foot rocker here, and it actually mimics the same geometry that's in the SC Elite. And in the ride, so the first word that does come to mind is certainly soft, but it is soft through different parts of the shoe. It feels very different. So through the rear, it's very soft and squishy, but it does firm up considerably as you come through the midfoot of the shoe, and then it does firm up quite a bit in the forefoot of the shoe. So for me, it feels a little bit weird, this shoe, when you're running. So when you're jogging, you really sink down into that rear foot, and for me, I get that negative drop feeling, like that my foot is going under the rest of the shoe, and then I think that takes away the effect of the rocker for me in this shoe. So then I go up on the firmer forefoot and toe off, but for me, it feels like I go down too far, and I've got to work too hard to get back onto this rocker, and that really results to me in this shoe feeling a little bit clunky, a little bit unbalanced, and not too efficient. So yeah, it's just something off with the way I strike in this shoe. I'm not going to say that that's going to happen for everyone. So for me, as I said, it does feel a little bit off. It feels a little bit unbalanced, and that's just because of just how different, how soft it feels through the rear compared to the middle and compared to the toe. So I don't think it works for my foot strike, especially to get the most out of this rocker. But if I'm not jogging, if I pick up the pace just a touch, then I can feel the efficiency of the shoe, and then I can feel the geometry of the shoe working for me. And what I also need to mention about the ride is when I go through the foot strike of this shoe, it feels like it just wants to, wherever my foot lands, and if it doesn't feel quite natural to me, it wants to hold my foot in that position. So it doesn't feel like that there is any give or any movement, or the shoe doesn't allow my foot to get in its natural position to toe off. So it's pretty much where I land, it really fights to hold the foot there, and then it makes me toe off in just, like we're talking millimeters here, but in a slightly unnatural position. So it feels like it wants to keep me like running straight on train tracks, and it doesn't let my foot sort of go where it wants to go, like just maybe millimeters off that really straight like train track type feeling. But yeah, it's a weird sensation. It's really hard to explain, but yeah, I'm not sure what's doing that. I'm not sure if it's the cavity or the grip is just keeping me really locked in, but I know the Rebel or the SC Elite don't do that to me in this shoe. It's just this shoe, yeah, it keeps me on these train tracks, and it doesn't feel quite natural to me either. But overall though, it is still a very comfortable ride. It's sort of nice and squishy. But yeah, there's just a few little things in it that don't quite work for me. And best shoes, so certainly what it's designed for, long runs, yes, and your easy days, yes, so nice and comfortable ride. For me though, it actually works best at steady pace. So when I'm not actually hitting the heel, and when I start landing more through the midfoot, I can get the most out of this shoe, and I can feel the shoe's efficiency in the rocker. So for me, that's where I get the best. So a steady pace long run for me is where its sweet spot is, but I know a lot of people out there are gonna really enjoy it for the easy days, recovery days as well, because it's so soft. Is it a fast shoe? No, it doesn't come across as a fast shoe or a race shoe, so I probably won't recommend it for either of those. So some other options out there if you are considering this shoe. So the first shoe I'll mention is, I think, the best super trainer on the market. That is the Mizuno Neo Vista. So it is different. It's a more rocket shoe than this. It's a really soft, bouncy shoe. However, it's just a lot more smoother and efficient that I find, and I think it's about the same price point as well. Also check out everyone's the fan favorite, the Asics Super Blast 2. So that shoe's going to be certainly lighter than this shoe. It's going to feel a little bit more firmer and responsive. Last shoe I'll mention is the big brother of this one, or the super shoe version of this, and that's the New Balance SC Elite V4. So pretty much the same shoe. It's stripped down, but it's just got pure PEBA super foam on the bottom. Very, very nice shoe, that one. So it has all the ingredients to make a great shoe, however, it just doesn't quite work for me. It's got the nice soft squishy foam, it's got the carbon plate, it's got rocket geometry, But as I said, there's just something off about it that just doesn't work for my foot strike. And I'm not saying it's not going to work for everyone, because I know a lot of people that really, really love this shoe. At $330, as I said, I do think it's overpriced, and that was reflected in the score there. As you can see, yeah, so I don't think $330 warrants the performance that you get out of this shoe. Even if this shoe was really amazing and I was getting the most out of it and it did work for me, I still think it's too expensive. So for $330, you can spend the extra $30 and get the elite version of this shoe, which I think is an amazing shoe. So it can do everything that this shoe can do. It's lighter, it's got more magic in the foam. I can actually feel the rocker, it's way more bouncy. So what I would do, I would spend the extra money and get the elite, or I would certainly consider other options. So check out the Neo Vista or also the Super Blast too. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. Any questions you've got for me regarding this shoe, how it compares to anything else, just drop it in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.